Why is it that so many Americans feel so poor today when it seems like they're probably paying about what they used to be? First thing that your mind probably turns to is wages. And I know we've all heard a narrative of wage stagnation. Now, there are some parts of it that are true. It is true that the rich have gotten incredibly richer since the 70s, while the pace or the rate of change of wage growth for the, normal people has not actually increased anywhere near as quickly. The simple fact is, and you're going to see this all across finance, is that capital begets capital. In other words, if you have money at work for you, it is going to appreciate faster than almost anything else you could do. And that's especially true for the people that have things like hard assets. Once again, we're talking about things like gold and silver, and stocks, portfolios with bonds in them, and other assets that appreciate quickly in growth. But when we go back and look at specific salaries for specific kinds of jobs, we see that things aren't quite as hard as you think they might be. Take a look at this classic article. It's from 1979, and it claims that you can make $21,820 a year as a carpenter. This varies by how skilled you are, how long you've been in the trade, and exactly where you're located. We all know that carpenters in California, in some of the most expensive areas in the country, or like New York, they're going to make more than a carpenter that's out in the middle of nowhere and just scraping by doing little projects for their neighbors. That's just how supply and demand work. This is where we start to see some of that gap widen. That person making $21,820 in 1979 today would be making $96,760. There's obviously a bit of a gap there. We know that most carpenters aren't making $96,000. That's just not how things work. In fact, the average carpenter is making $24 to $30 an hour. So we can see clearly that wages there haven't kept up with the way that the rest of the world has changed. Sure, they're paying about the same as they were for things like butter, eggs, and gas, but they're not making as much as they would have been back in 1979. And that's where consumers start to really feel the pain.